David Hertel with you, in for Elias. Well, big news yesterday. A new plant that will produce battery materials for Ford's electric vehicles is coming to Quebec. The $1.2 billion project in Bécancour will create 345 direct jobs and help us move closer to the electric car transition. Joining us to give us his reactions is Daniel Breton, President and CEO for Electric Mobility Canada. Daniel, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
So, first off, your reaction to this announcement.
Oh, great news. Going back a few years, when I was a student, I used to work at the GM plant in Boisbriand. And I remember when that closed, that was quite a devastating blow to the region. Mm-hmm. And we remember how tough that was. Yep. And now it's been replaced by shopping malls. Mm-hmm. you can just imagine, the level of paycheck when you work in a battery plant versus a shopping mall. So what we want is not only to create jobs, but to create well-paying jobs. So I think this is great news for the Bécancour region.
Now, this morning in the Journal de Montréal, the article announcing this was pointing out that, the governments, federal and provincial, are kicking in $644 million into this project, which comes out to, if you do a simple calculation, about $2 million invested per job. Now, I think this is a good move, but what are the arguments to counter these types of criticisms that, it's corporate welfare and it's subsidizing jobs for nothing?
It's actually forgetting that we're talking also about indirect jobs. So many other jobs, 5 to 10 times more jobs will be created in the Bécancour region beyond the direct jobs. So we're talking construction, because a lot of people will have to go and live either in Trois-Rivières or in Bécancour. We're talking about restaurants. We're talking about hotels. We're talking about so many other jobs that will be, supporting these direct jobs. This is something that needs to be mentioned, because too often we look at this from a very narrow prism, and I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard people raise concerns about, we're sort of Quebec's strategy, because we have lithium mines and other critical minerals. We're investing in the whole transformation sector to keep as much of the investment in Quebec as possible. But there have been people raising issues like, this might be the technology now, but maybe 3, 5, 10 years from now, this won't be the technology. Maybe we'll be elsewhere. What do you respond to that?
Well, actually, when you look at battery plants, they can evolve with the battery technology. So they can go from lithium metal cobalt to lithium iron phosphate to sodium even, because what you need is the infrastructure to build the batteries. So the chemistry within the batteries is something that will evolve, that has evolved already. And to me, there's no issue once you have the battery plant. So to me, these are two different subjects. And I don't know if you know about this, but already a lot of research and development has been done in Canada. I was in a conference in California in June, and what we saw was Canada was one of the top 5 countries for research and development on battery technologies in the world. So it means that we have a lot of very qualified, very smart people working on this. And if you look at a Tesla vehicle today, the 2 battery chemistries that you find in Tesla have been developed either from Nova Scotia University, Dalhousie University with Jeff Dan's team, or in Quebec with IREC with Karim Zaib's team. What that means is that we have the know-how, and we will develop the batteries of the future from solid state to sodium batteries or anything else. But there's no issue with battery chemistry, because we will need lithium or sodium, but many other critical minerals that we have in Quebec and Canada will be part of the solution.
Very interesting. Now, you are one of the foremost Quebec authorities on electric vehicles. You were a former environment minister back in the Marois government. I cannot not ask you about Pierre Fitzgibbon's comments this week. I've been asked about it as a former environment minister as well. First, I have several questions for you, but first of all, the comments themselves. How did you react when you first heard them?
Well, It's what we call an inconvenient truth.
That's what Al Gore called it.
Yeah, exactly. So between us, between 1990 and 2020, 1990 and 2020, as you know,
Hmm.
the number of cars on the road versus the number of people living in Quebec, the growth in population versus the growth in fleet of vehicles. Well, the growth of fleet of vehicles has been 3 times more important than the growth in population.
Hmm.
So obviously, when I do conferences, I ask people, do you ever get stuck in traffic? People raise their hands. I say to them, no, you're not stuck in traffic. You are traffic. So let's face it. In 2018, I don't know if you remember this, David,
Yeah.
but there was a study that showed that on an average rush hour in the morning in Montreal, there's 14.8 million empty seats
Oh, yeah.
being driven around.
Yeah, I remember that.
So,
Yeah.
so that means that we could do a lot more with car sharing and carpooling and active public transit and active transportation, because right now we're really wasteful on the way we use our modes of transportation. So I wouldn't say that because people are afraid that their cars will be taken away from them. But I say to them, well, let's use those cars that we have more efficiently in a smarter way, because right now it's very inefficient.
Why do you think the reaction has been so harsh? I mean, you look at certain columnists, again, especially in the Journal de Montréal, but again, I didn't hear them saying anything really that outrageous. Now, you can criticize the Legault government about their policies and the example they're setting, but at the same time, I don't get the quote-unquote intensity of the reactions. Are you feeling the same way?
Yeah, but I mean, you've been in politics.
Yeah.
I've been in politics.
Yeah.
So people getting outraged when we're saying the truth sometimes.
But how would you react? I mean, if you were the environment minister today, how would you tackle this?
Well, I mean, the numbers that I just presented to you, I think are valid numbers that people should really take a hard look at, because these are really inconvenient truths. So if we want to be more environmentally friendly, yes, we need more electric cars, but we do need less cars on the road. But it doesn't mean, and I think this should have been explained, taking away the vehicles from the people's hands, but instead using your vehicle in a more efficient way by car sharing and carpooling and such, so that your car will last longer, you won't have to pay as much, it's going to be more environmentally friendly, less traffic. So to me, there's a way to explain this. I've heard someone say once, there's a wrong way to be right. So it depends on how you explain it.
Being right is definitely not the only thing you need to be successful. You need much more. And so we always talk about climate. We always seem to be carrying the same types of messages. But when it comes election time, provincially, municipally, federally, people don't vote about this. I mean, how do we link this up with, obviously people are thinking about inflation, the economy, and the right to do so. They're thinking about their pocketbooks, but the link is very hard to make. And that's why I think there isn't that much change politically. How can we move towards more change?
Well, I would disagree with you on this,
Okay,
because I think that in the last federal election, people have been talking more and more about the environment.
Okay.
Because it's facing us right now. I mean, when we look at what's happening in the Northwest Territories these days, what's been happening across Canada, I mean, we've been going through some really crazy, weather in the past 6 months to a year.
Oh, yeah.
I remember in May, I mean, we were looking at record floods in Quebec, and we went to record forest fires and then record floods again. So the weather is just turning crazy. And this is something that we predicted decades ago.
Yeah.
So now people are facing it finally. I mean, obviously, there will always be some people in denial. But, I mean, the younger generation especially is really aware of what's happening. But even the folks, I mean, when we're looking at them, at TV reportage on what's happening in Northwest Territories these days, it's really dreadful. So we really have to take this very seriously.
Always a pleasure, Daniel. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Daniel Breton, President and CEO for Electric Mobility Canada.